Hello again, everyone. My name is Judy David, and I am morbidly obese. While most of you can look at me and see that I am an overweight individual, many of you wouldn't even consider the fact that I'm morbidly obese, nor would you consider yourself morbidly obese. The term is simply depressing. In fact, it was only created in order to push the insurance companies to pay for something to help people like me lose weight, because otherwise we would die. So they called it morbid obesity. Horrible. I actually got a shock being called that, because I'd never been called that before until about 2 years ago, when I had to make a trip to the emergency room. Upon leaving, they handed me my stack of paperwork, and I was just rummaging through it, seeing what they would want me to talk to my doctor about. And right there in black and white, it said morbid obesity. And that little term, those 2 words, has sent me on I would almost call it religious research event. I've been researching for about 2 years, since this happened, weighing the risks and benefits of bariatric surgery. I finally got hooked up with a doctor. His name is Dr. James Sintras. He is at a Methodist hospital here near me, and we have gone over a couple of different options. My first option is the gastric sleeve, and then there's the gastric bypass. Both options have their risks and their benefits. And I will tell you about those now. So we'll begin with the gastric sleeve. Basically what it is they take 2/3 of your stomach and they remove it from your body. In doing so, it limits the amount of food that one can consume, along with how much they absorb of that food. It leaves basically just a little banana-shaped stomach in your abdomen, and when they remove all of your stomach, they actually remove a hormone called ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, so you pretty much have to remind yourself to eat every time you want to eat. The surgery itself only takes about 2 hours, and it requires about a 1 to 2 day hospital stay. Because it's not such a humongous surgery, they don't have to, bypass anything or do anything like that. So that's the gastric sleeve. Gastric bypass is actually the rerouting of your small intestinal tract to a small pouch that is created from your former stomach in order to limit the amount of food that you can take and the absorption that happens. This is basically done for patients who have diabetes or other comorbidities in order to help them become a more stable eater and a more stable person. People with diabetes wouldn't have to be on insulin any longer, because they're absorbing so much more insulin from their intestines. This surgery actually takes a lot more time, about 4 to 6 hours, and your hospital stay is about a week and a half. Just depends on, obviously the person, but generally a week and a half. Due to the fact that it's just such a complex surgery. I mean, they're rerouting things, they're, making sure that your stomach's going to work correctly, that everything's going to take, and they're not going to have any problems later on. There is the lap band. I decided not to go with the lap band at all, but these other 2 were 2 that I absolutely am seriously considering. Both of the surgeries do require me to maintain a liver shrinking diet for the next 3 to 6 months, which I have started. Because your liver sits right above your stomach and it sits in front of it, you have to shrink your liver in order for the surgeon to get to your stomach and perform the surgery. If you don't, there is a chance of complication, nicking, and leaking, and all kinds of nonsense that you just don't want to get into. So it's just better for everyone involved if I follow the plan. I also have to quit smoking. I have been a smoker since I was very young. In fact, I used to steal my father's cigarettes just to smoke. And then he quit smoking, and of course I was hooked. In order to be able to have the surgery, on the day of the surgery, I must be nicotine free. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If I have even the slightest bit of nicotine in my system, they won't operate on me. So I quit smoking 3 days ago, and I think that it's probably one of the best decisions I've made. I probably a little bit less hyper right now because, you know, it does take a toll on you when you first start this whole process. So you may notice that I'm not quite as hyper as I was last week. Of the two surgeries, I have actually chosen to go with the gastric sleeve. I already know what I want to do. I think being a mother and a wife and a student and an employee, I want obviously the smoothest amount of recovery, but I also want the least possible amount of time. And so I think that having the gastric sleeve will help with that. Again, I'm at like 6 minutes, and I'm sorry, guys. I hope that you guys did enjoy my speech and my informative speech about bariatric surgery. And I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of your speeches. Take care.